I heard there was some people playing catch out there at UCLA this weekend. Shout out to them boys who was playing catch out there, huh? A little throwing session going on. A little George Pickens, a little Aaron Rodgers, a little Aaron. Shh, tossing that pig skin around. Come on, baby. Beautiful thing to see, man. Beautiful thing to see for multiple reasons, man. Obviously, and we have a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack with this, man. But when we're talking about, just the GP and Aaron Rodgers throwing session, the reason why I like it is this, man. If there is potential that these guys are going to be a tandem, right? Because all signs are pointing when you listen to how Coach Tomlin talks, even through the sweat, when you listen to, the Adam Schefters and the Ian Rappaports of the world, everything is kind of pointing to either Aaron Rodgers is going to retire or he is going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if that is the case, then you would want, our future starting quarterback to have a rapport, a relationship, some type of connection with one of his premier wide receivers. And when we talk GP, we obviously know GP, man. This dude has had a little bit of a journey, right? And I think obviously we know his father kind of put that in the spotlight this weekend as well, man. I forgot who he was talking to in one of the interviews, but he brought up how, ultimately GP, it's like shout out to his sanity due to the fact that he's had to play with, multiple different quarterbacks all within his first couple of years of development and the negative impact that does have. And if you think about it, it is very valid. And I know that's something to myself that I'm always like, man, is super valid. But in the moment, you don't even think of it because we're just so results based, right? And that's the NFL, right? It's like, yo, man, what's happening right now, man? Are you scoring touchdowns? Are you a 1,000-yard receiver? Are you showing the best behavior? Is everything perfect right now? And you don't be thinking about, hey, bro, my man is on quarterback 4, quarterback 5 right now. The first 3 years, you're like, yeah, that is kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. I mean, when you do the checklist, let's my man he started out with Mitch. My man had Kenny. My man had Mason. Actually went back to Mitch, then went back to Kenny. Then he had Mason for a little bit. He had Fields, and my man had Russ. I'm like, yo, he do got a 5-piece. I was like, you know what? You might have a point there. You know what? Look, what they say, I can have my eyes open. All right. I was like, you know what? When you think about it, I even think from a personal standpoint, right? And yes, Calvin F. He did have Cal Allen for a snap as well. I forgot about that one. Shout out. Make it a 6-piece. All right, make it a 6-piece. But it was funny because for me, I say, I've always complained internally about how I had so many different position coaches in my career, especially in Buffalo. I was like, man, I had 2 different position coaches my rookie year, 2 my second year, a different one my third year, and I had a whole new dude my 4th year. I'm like, yo, and I would complain internally about, man, I just wish I had the same voice. And that's why I loved coming to Pittsburgh, because it was the same voice, the same coach the whole time. From LeBeau, it went to Keith Butler. Keith Butler was my linebacker coach to my defensive coordinator. It was like, yo, consistency. And I remember how I felt confident, how it really helped me just get a lot better, right? But then when I started saying, when we started talking about GP, we don't even think about that. You're like, God, dog, bro. So when I look at the fact that, yeah, man, he's the one that's, when I look at the fact that, he's one of those dudes that is trying to get connected, and excuse me on that one, and I did say GP in terms of him throwing with DK, or excuse me, with Aaron Rodgers, DK throwing with Rodgers, but GP is who I'm thinking of right now, just due to the fact of the amount of different quarterbacks that he has had to deal with, also pulling up into this Aaron Rodgers situation. To me, it's just like, man, I think that these are all things that are going to matter. These are all things that are going to be, super important in terms of him continuing to develop, right? We need to find somebody that can get some consistency with him. And if Rodgers is that type of dude, I like it. And obviously, man, when we're talking about DK, man, we already know, dude, whoever you can connect with, man, is DK Metcalf, man. Who doesn't he connect with? Who can't he ball out with? And that's the other part that I like about DK. And why I think for both of these dudes, man, we're going to be in a good situation. All right. So shout out to both of them dudes, man. Shout out. But let me pull something up real quick. But yeah, I said, man, whenever you get a little time to work with the guy ahead of time, if you could build that relationship ahead of time, if you could build that dynamic ahead of time, that foundation ahead of time, yo, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I know it's not a consensus of love surrounding my man Ron. I know this. But when you talk about what Rodgers brings to the table, it's like, yeah, that's playmaking. That's, a dynamite type talent there. Now, granted, it's not what it once was, but it's still nice. And that's the part where it's like, yeah, for the DKs and the GPs of the world, you need to get that thing rolling, man. Get that relationship, man. Get it going. And hopefully we get some more consistency out of just the position group as a whole, right? Because that is something that we have been kind of lacking, have been kind of struggling with. And we do got to improve upon that. And I think that, when you can get some stability at the most important position, that is, where you get that at. But we will obviously see how we feel about it. And like I said, this all could be a moot point. If my man Aaron Rodgers just, says, all right, I'm headed with y'all, I'm going to go ahead and retire, then it really doesn't matter one way or the other, right? But as it stands for right now, shout out to the receiver, DK getting ahead of it with my man Rodgers, and hopefully my man GP can find some stability at the QB position so my man can go ahead and ball out the way that he's supposed to be balling out and continue to, develop, because all of it is this. I mean, all of it is intertwined. All of it kind of goes together. Like I said, man, when you're talking about just how these things are happening, man, how these guys are trying to just build their foundation in the NFL. Stability matters, man. Consistency matters, man. And especially when you're talking about just the same message. And that's the one thing that we can't kind of lose sight of at time, solely because of how we're feeling in the moment about wanting a result. So that's what I will have to say about that. But you already know the drill, man. Don't forget to hit the like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel.